Hello, everybody. We're back again with yet another episode of Indo-Indians Newsmakers, the series of online interviews with newsmakers in Indonesia. In-depth, insightful, and candid conversations, life, idea stories, inspiration, motivation, success, and a lot more. It's a new initiative by Indo-Indians to connect and share with all of you the life and journey about all newsmakers back in Indonesia. So you've attended a few of them, and yet again, we're here with somebody new this time. So today we have Nalin Singh, as I just shared with him a minute before we started the program, man of many interests and talents. He is the co-founder and CEO of Orbit Future Academy that provides skills for future jobs based out of Indonesia. He also leads its India-based Natio Cultus, which is a boutique strategy consulting company for entrepreneurs wanting to raise funds for their businesses. Welcome to the show, Nalin.
Thank you, Jyoti. Thanks for having me here.
It's totally our pleasure, and I'm sure our viewers will learn a lot more from you. So, Nalin, as I said, you're a man of many interests. We know that because you've shared with us. I would like you to share with our speakers in a few sentences about tell us what you do and who are you?
Well, that's interesting. When you start off your career, you never think of these things, right?
Correct.
And mine is a classic case of a non-formulaic career. I studied science in 12th. I graduated in Chinese history and arts. I went to engineering college for a week and ran away. I did chartered accountancy after that, passed that. I became one of the youngest CEOs of a Fortune 500 company, left that, came back to India, made movies, went bankrupt, completely bankrupt. Rediscovered myself, wrote business books, became a sort of a life coach. Did a lot of things in between. Now I write crime fiction, and I'm having the time of my life, living a dream in Jakarta, doing something noble.
Lovely, lovely. That's really interesting and very, very, like north and south in the same life, if I may say so. That's
If you
brilliant.
spoke to my wife about the same journey, she would tell you in different words, and it wouldn't be as exciting.
So you've been into a lot of things and you've done multifarious projects and stuff. Which has been like the coolest project that you consider you've done ever?
Actually, the coolest project is the one I'm doing now.
Okay.
So in Indonesia, everybody talks about the great skill shortage when it comes to tech talent, digital talent, etc. There's a lot of talk, and I've heard it for the last 15 years that I've traveled here. A lot of talk, nobody does anything about it. This time, I was pleasantly surprised when I saw that the central ministries, particularly the Ministry of Education, took it upon itself to actually do something about it. They launched a program where college students can take up skill-based courses on technology and other aspects of the human behavior and growth with private parties and get credits for them in their normal curriculum. So for example, a 5th or 6th semester student could step out and for 6 months study only artificial intelligence or cloud computing or something like that with an accredited virtual university partner of the ministry and get credits for their normal course for that. It is a path-breaking program called Campus Merdeka. Nowhere in the world has something so bold, something so radical been tried in the higher education sector at such a scale. Many people in Indonesia don't see it, don't realize the change it's going to bring, but it is something phenomenal, and I'm so excited to be a part of it. I know when we look back upon it after a few years, as will the people in the ministry, because right now when you're actually doing something, people only see the problems.
Yeah.
But when the outcomes comes out in 3, 4, 5 years time, people will look back upon it with great pride and fondness that they actually did something that made a change to not just people's individual lives, but to the nation's skill pool at large, the nation's talent pool at large. Yes. So this program is the one I'm right now really excited about.
Well, it sounds really, really great because you're giving individual opportunities, and as you rightly said, collectively it's going to help in the long run. But as an individual, it's a great, great opportunity to be able to do something like this. So, with something like this, what do you see as the biggest challenges, or if you connect to your own industry, your own work, what are the big challenges that you see coming through?
So some of the things when an industry goes through a disruption, a boom, some of the things are undesirable also.
Yes.
So let me talk about them for a moment.
Sure.
We hear about all this edutech, and stuff like that, right? But here are some things that don't resonate with me too well. How much tech can you put into education? Education in the earlier time used to be about information and knowledge. Now information is taken over by the internet. So really we need to concentrate on knowledge.
Yeah.
Look at a few things. A lot of companies calling themselves edutech are basically glorified tuition masters.
Yes.
How cruel is it for a child to go through 6 hours of school and come back and go through 2 hours of tuition and the parent to pay for both with the same teacher often? It's not that somebody from Mars is coming and teaching them something they've not understood. So that's one. I think that part will die away, and that is really undesirable. The other thing is, in the name of digitization and technology, we are shoving so many things down the throat of students and teachers without understanding its impact, long-term impact, etc. Because at the end of the day, it is a human thing. We are talking of human beings, not robots. So look at it this way. We keep talking of all the wonderful things that we are doing for education. But in any industry, if you want to launch a product, you first speak to your clients and find out what they want.
Correct.
How many of these so-called edutech companies have spoken to the students and asked them what they want? They don't ask the students what they want. They don't ask the teachers what they want. They sit like gods, throwing out products and shoving it down their throat, saying this is what you need. I think the pandemic is teaching people that there's an overstress on this technology, and we need to teach other aspects that are more important for leading lives,
Correct.
especially in today's world.
Yes.
We, as parents, are talking about de-gadgetifying our children. At the same time, in school, tech is being thrown into it at a rapid pace. What good is coming out of this? So the way I look at the industry is, we need to stop giving degrees for the sake of a degree.
Yes.
Think about it this way. What service or product would you buy if you did not have guarantee of performance? For example, you went to a barber.
Yeah.
Will you go to a barber who cannot cut hair?
No.
You went and bought, say, a laptop. Will you buy a laptop without guarantee of certain service? Then why do you go to an education institute and spend 5 years without guarantee of a job?
Yeah. True.
Why do you pursue a degree? Why do you, unless you want to become a PhD and acquire knowledge? I understand that. And do research. I understand that. But why else do the large masses go? It's a Ponzi scheme. Pass 12th, don't get a job, do a degree. Don't get a job, do a master's. Don't get a job, do PhD. Where will this end? People have got found out. Now the age is for skill-based, outcome-based degrees, something that gives you the desired outcome. People don't have the patience for going through this 3 to 5 years Ponzi scheme. They want proper skills and they want a clear outcome. As a customer, I would demand none less. And that's where I think the industry is going.
Makes absolute sense. And I completely agree with this educate business, because I think even as parents or even as consumers, we don't look at it as anything else but tuition. The child is not able to pick up something at the university, in the school. Okay, let's put him in an extra class. And that's
And they call it edutech.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. But
I don't
guess
get it. There are companies in India today advertising that one student will have 2 teachers teaching them on the. Come on, is the student that dumb, or you have got that poor quality teachers?
Yeah. But you're right. It's lack of knowledge at the consumer end, big time. So, keeping in mind your vision and what you're presently involved in, where do you see yourself and your industry in the next, let's say, 3 years?
So I think the industry will have a shakeout, right? A lot of these tuition guys will either have to pivot their models and do something meaningful, or they will die out.
Yes.
Tech will have a certain role of enabling education, but it cannot be the end all. That's why we don't call ourselves a tech company. It will all be about skills, and many of the skills that people will seek are not even skills that are job related. There will be a lot on job readiness. There will be a lot on life skills. There will be a lot on attributes, compassion, empathy, character building, which you will be surprised to know the ministry in Indonesia is so passionate about. They insist that even when we teach artificial intelligence, at least half the course is on character building. Which other government does that?
Yes.
So they're very progressive. We don't recognize it today because not many people know, but they will soon enough. But I think the industry will move to skill-based, outcome-based education, if you will call it that. But I would rather call it skilling. Skilling for life skills, behavioral skills, job skills, and life attributes. That's where I think the industry will go.
Sounds really optimistic and positive, both. If I was to say you have the next 2 minutes to promote your project or your ideas, and also let people know where to go and find it, since you're right there in Indonesia, and a lot of viewers are most of the viewers are in Indonesia, how do they reach out and share more about your project?
Yeah. So our outreach is through the normal social media channels. You can reach us through our website, or orbitfutureacademy.id.
Okay.
But what we do is that we bring in people, we train them, and we give them guaranteed jobs. If you don't get a job, there's no point coming to us. We don't give a degree for the sake of a degree.
Correct.
And every course of ours is taught the Orbit way, where there is a large component of project-based learning, behavioral skills, job skills, attributes, and life skills. Without that, there's no point teaching people technology or anything else.
True.
What we also do, most importantly, is that as we go through Industry 4.0 and we go through this rapid automation, what we are closing our eyes to is that a large mass of people are becoming unemployed.
Yes.
Take an example. The call center industry was so big with 1 million people employed across Southeast Asia. Where are they now? You have chatbots, right?
Correct.
So a large mass of people require upskilling and reskilling.
Yes.
That may be a bigger market, and that's the direction also that we're doing. For example, we have a project with the largest cloud computing company in the world, Amazon Web Services, called Restart, where we take unemployed and underemployed youth, put them through a 12-week classroom session, absolutely free. We don't charge them a penny. Make them job ready and give them guaranteed jobs. The first cohort launched a few weeks ago, and we got a tremendous response. So,
Lovely.
While VCs, investors, and media glorifies all these so-called edutech companies just because valuations are going up, what value are they adding? The real question should be, what value are they adding to society? Education, even though it is a for-profit business for us, there is certain nobility attached to it. You can't ignore that. You can't just make it frivolous by forcing people to take up products that are actually useless.
Yeah.
And that is the part that the people are getting turned off from, and now seeking things that have greater value rather than just taking a product from a company because they have a great valuation. That's no guarantee for a good product.
Yes, true. Very well said, and absolutely correct. Right now, it's become so commercial that it is switching off people. Education, medicine, they have been extremely noble professions, and that's where things have to make a shift. Lovely. So, Nalin, this is all about your work and your passion about your work. Now, let's talk about Nalin, the person. So, if I was to ask you, what's the best ever advice that you have received in your life that has worked well for you?
Yeah, so on advice, I have a couple of thoughts, right? I believe almost everybody gets good advice at some point or the other in their life, be it from their parents, teachers, friends, siblings, and later colleagues, bosses, etc. The point is not who is advising you and what is the advice. The point is, who will you agree to listen to in life?
Yes.
Once you decide who you agree to listen to and create the right reference group, you will get better and better advice. But to answer your question, I think the best advice I got was, it is not passion and perfection that you should seek. It is progression and pride. Let me explain that. Passion, I believe, is overvalued, and passion only produces babies. People should not look for jobs that they are passionate about, but they should do every job with pride because it comes from their desk. They will be successful. Not everybody gets what they're passionate about. Not everybody finds love in their life. You have to not You have to love the person you have rather than keep seeking the person for love. It's like that. So pride in what you do is more important than, being passionate about what you do. I think it's overrated and misplaced, and passion only produces babies. That's my belief. The other is this obsession with perfection. I could argue that even God is not perfect. Just look at the world we live in right now. Walk into Ukraine and you will know.
Yeah.
Why are we seeking perfection in everything and driving people nuts? You need progression. Every day, a small, better version of yourself, your own path, your own journey. These are the kind of things that people have advised me on, which when you put your thought to, you realize this is practical rather than some corporate, well-sounding rhyming words. Like, in entrepreneurship, I hear it's better to try and fail than not try at all.
Yeah.
Really? Then try suicide. These are just, they waylay people. They misguide people. So I think who you listen to is more important, and then practice it.
Lovely, lovely. Though there is something, if I had the time and the privilege, I would have had this conversation about passion and pride. That sounds very interesting, but I appreciate your thoughts on that. So, what are you reading right now, and what would you like our audience to know? What would you like to recommend our audience to read that has kind of made an influence on you?
Right now, I'm reading a book by a retired Navy SEAL commander, Rich Devaney. It's
Okay.
called Attributes, 25 Hidden Drivers of Optimal Performance.
Okay.
Now, why is this book interesting? He talks about attributes such as patience, situational awareness, adaptability, even narcissism and cunningness being more important than skills and education. It's an important point. He talks about how reflection, self-understanding of oneself, and vulnerability can give you a performance edge. People are so scared to be vulnerable. People are so scared to not know things. People are so scared, to actually spend time with themselves. They want to understand everything around in the world except themselves. They have an opinion on everything that's happening except reflecting on themselves. They are trying to look at vulnerability in other people and exploit it, except elevate their own vulnerability into a successful career.
Yeah.
So that's what I get out of it. It's a wonderful book. I think people should read it.
Sounds very interesting. I'll definitely have a look at it. Is there any shortcut or a life hack which you've practiced for yourself and that has worked very well for you?
That's a tough one. Everybody wants an easy answer, right? So, like I say, most things in life are very simple, right? You want to lose weight, eat more, eat less, exercise more. You want to become wealthy, spend less than you earn. It's not easy.
No.
To do this is not easy. People have compulsive behavior that makes them do the wrong thing and they justify it. So everything is simple, but it's not easy. So here is what has worked for me. One simple thing: be on time. I'm paranoid about it. Wake up on time. The sun comes up on time. It doesn't delay. It doesn't take a day off. It doesn't distinguish whether it's Saturday or Sunday. Get up on time. In the morning, have a good morning routine. Put yourself in the optimal mental condition to go to work. Most of us are knowledge workers, not physical workers. We are paid to bring our optimal brain to work. What will bring you to your optimal brain when you walk into office? Or are you the guy who sits in office and worries about home, and sits at home and worries about office? And for that, I think just waking up on time and being on time, people who are not on time lose my respect like that. Sometimes it's inevitable, but most of the time people have compulsive behavior when it comes to time. And that really is an off-putting thing. And that's stood me in good stead throughout my life. Just gives me an edge, just gives me a few moments more to think about things and others.
Correct, correct. And I think that's respect for time for yourself and for the next person. So totally appreciate that. Yes, discipline definitely works a long way. I mean, it has been like this in a lot of armed forces and the other forces where disciplined life has shown results. So very well said. Any apps, gadget, tools that you are really regularly using and can't do without?
Maybe only my laptop and phone, but there's nothing you can't really do without. At least I am born in a generation where we didn't have all this, right?
Yes.
We waited 5 years for a phone line.
Yes.
So this is the age of instant gratification. So we have to live in the times and use everything that is available for efficiency. The point is not to get addicted to it,
Yes.
not to have a phone that is there for you operating efficiently, and then you sitting and playing games on it needlessly or beyond a certain amount of time. You have to really decide whether you have kept your phone or the phone has kept you.
Yes. That's
Whether you're
really
going to jump whenever it rings or you will use it for your own optimal performance. The way you treat it and the way you treat yourself is how people will treat you and your time. I think most people just don't have a control over their time. And that's the only thing that, is in limited quantity, if you think about it.
lovely. True. So, Nalin, lastly, I'm going to just leave you with something that you need to add words to. If I would say, what would Nalin love to see? How would you complete that?
I would love to see our education system transform
Okay.
into a system which teaches people how to lead their life, how to manage relationships, how to love, how to be a parent, how to have the other skills that you need to lead a life. Because the information part of it is well covered by the internet today. The students are smarter than the teacher. And that's what's frustrating teachers. They need to pivot to teaching them how to lead their life. They're constrained by curriculum. But I think a movement will come very soon, just like we had a virus to jolt us to understand human values. I think some kind of virus or something will come that will jolt people away from social media, jolt people away from strict curriculums, and move them into a more of a growth mindset. Everybody talks of growth mindset, that students should have a growth mindset, people should have a growth mindset, an entrepreneurial mindset. How are they going to build an entrepreneurial and growth mindset with a fixed curriculum?
Yes.
How are they going to sit in class with a fixed curriculum and build a growth mindset? You are creating the problem and then telling them when they are in their teens that you got a problem, now we're going to fix it.
Yeah.
So I hope these things transform and we move more to character building, move more to behavioral traits, attributes, and life living skills, rather than cramming people with knowledge they don't need now.
True, true. I completely agree with this, and this is really the demand of today's day and age. Great. Thank you so much for this lovely, interesting, and insightful conversation. Truly appreciate that. And thank you for joining us. And we wish you all the very best in your future endeavors. Thank you.
Thank you, Jyoti, and thank you to Indo-Indians for having me. I wish you all the very best too. Thank you and have a good day.
Take care. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.